Hello there. This is Steve Barnes here with Life Writing Live. And, boy, it's been an intense weekend where we started our first podcast, and we, just so many different things going on, trying to get the year going, trying to get everything working in the same order. It's like I really let myself shut down for the year over Christmas and New Year's. Actually starting with Thanksgiving, really. I mean, because I've been driving myself so hard. So in putting the pieces of the puzzle back together, I it's going to take me a little while to get up to speed. So, please forgive me for that. I want to be here for you. But our podcast, which can be found at lifewritingpodcast.com, is now live. And so we're going to be doing that, and we're going to want questions. One of the things that I want to do is to answer people's questions on the podcast. We're still trying to figure out what the format should be. It's going to be some combination of Tananarive and I just talking, sharing our lives, talking about the things that go into our lives and the way that we organize these things, our relationship, our physical health, and the work. Of course, the work is critical. If you don't make the money, you can't sustain your mission. So acting as if that's not important is naive and childish, as far as I'm concerned. That art has to be in that framework, has to be in relationship to that, if it's going to be an occupation. I mean, if you're just doing it for fun, then there's no need to worry about that at all. But in terms of time to take care of yourself physically, your physicality, leading into the ability to make more money and to protect your family and serve your family in different ways, and your family being both a source of motivation and what it is that we take care of ourselves physically and make money to protect and uplift. So these things are all connected, and how these things are connected and why they're connected and how to create that connection yourself is a part of what I want to talk about. Now, if the weekly is going to be a deep dive into what's going on with my relationship with Tananarive and our work, then it is, it raises the question, what should the daily be? And I think that the daily is, kind of a dump of what the last 24 hours have been, the last 48 hours, the last 72 hours have been. So to that end, I wanted to go through the other steps, the thing that we start with in terms of helping people understand how to build a writing career is sort of the atomic theory, where you take the smallest unit that is actually a self-contained unit of your craft or your destination, your goal, and make sure that you do that every day. And it should be a small unit, something that can be done in 5 minutes or less. So in meditating, it is literally 5 minutes of breathing, deep, slow diaphragmatic breathing once every 3 hours. Okay, that's literally what that is. In terms of the physical body, it is probably 3 repetitions each of the 5 Tibetans, which takes about 10 minutes, perhaps. But there are smaller things. I'm looking at crawling. Crawling is a very interesting exercise because if you do it properly, it's both very, very safe, and after the first minute or so, it's hideously difficult if you're not used to that. I mean, you watch babies doing it and say, oh, that looks easy and cute. But it is a foundational movement. So I'm looking at that and asking myself the question, could crawling, and if you're going to want to do some research into this, could crawling be the kind of foundational exercise where if you don't have anything else, you could practice laying down on the ground and standing back up again, which is the foundation of the Turkish get-up. Or maybe you could look at joint mobility drills. Those are really, really great. Or you could look at crawling and some combination of these things. So I'm looking into that. I'll share my conclusions about these things with you as time goes on. But I wanted to clear out the rest of the 6 steps to being a writer This is, once again, you could create 6 steps like this for any discipline, but I think that writing is something that I've gone into deeply enough that I can make a positive statement about it. I can be pretty clear, and I can be pretty certain that if you will do these things, you will get the result. The result in general is, can you go from 0 to your first publication in a year? I think that anybody with an average level of command of the English language can do it. We will see. It will depend on you. But the 6 steps, first step is you write a sentence a day. The second step is you write 1 to 4 short stories a month. And they could be very, very short stories. They could be, a 2-page flash fiction. The third step is you polish and submit those stories. The fourth step is you don't rewrite except to editorial request. In other words, you don't keep rewriting your stories endlessly. Once you've finished and submitted them, you move on to the next story. The fifth step is you read 10 times as much as you write. It's really critical that you get a lot of reading, a lot of input, so that you can soak up style and learn structure on an unconscious level. And the sixth and final step is you repeat this process 100 times. So until you have gone through this process 100 times, and I suggest that you relate your story writing to the structure of the hero's journey, something we'll deal with another time, you don't even begin to question whether you can make it, whether or not the field will be open to you, whether the field will be receptive to you. You've got work to do. You've got to write 100 stories and be circulating them and be researching constantly. By that time, you should have read at least 1,000 stories. So how long will it take you to do that? That's up to you. If you were me, I'd be writing 2 stories a week, and they'd be very, very short. But if it's a story a week, I could do that. You say 1 to 4 short stories a month. Okay. We'll just say 4 stories a month. In which case, you would be writing, if 4 stories a month is, let's see, 4 times 12, it's about 50 stories a year. So you are talking about 2 years to get to 100 stories. Okay, so that's 2 years to getting published. Okay, if you can do that, if you can write a story a week and go through this process for 2 years, I'm betting that you will get your first publication. And I think that stepping across that line is a really beautiful thing. And it is a life-changing thing. And there's so many other things that you can slot in there. Find the minimum dose of this, the minimum dose of this, the minimum dose of this, and then you put all of your discipline behind that. And if you're suffering from ADHD, executive function, whatever, then the smaller the thing you have to do, whatever amount of executive function you have, whatever amount of discipline you have, you put it behind the smallest grain of sand that'll get it done. You take, whatever strength you have, and you put it behind the smallest thing that will get you the positive effect. Because once you start getting the positive effect, it has it's self-reinforcing. I do this, I feel something good, or I decrease the amount of bad. You will automatically want to do more than that. When what you do is only giving you positive feedback after a year of practice, you're not as likely to feel good about it. Okay, it's harder to sustain your discipline. I had lunch with Larry Niven on Saturday, and my mentor, my dear friend, my brother, and he was saying that the entire time that he's known me, it's like I've been trying to put together a jigsaw puzzle of all the different pieces that I wanted to fit into my life. The relationship I wanted, a soulmate relationship. The physicality that I wanted, measured in both physical vibrancy and certain levels of accomplishment within the martial arts. Learning certain things within the martial arts. And remember, this was never a matter of being better than somebody else. It was always a matter of being better than who I was yesterday. Okay, so to get that straight. And then a certain amount of quality in my writing, and a certain amount of financial reward for that quality. I have to make a living. So, making the money, having the body, having the relationship, all at the same time. It's difficult. It's juggling all 3 of those things at the same time. And I'm closer than I've ever been. There are ways in which I've already done that in terms of my childhood dreams, but those childhood dreams were reformulated once I became a man. And I don't quite have that balance that I want, but I feel like I'm almost there. So he has had a lot of fun watching me go through this process, and he's been very entertained by that. And I'm glad. I'm happy to entertain the people that I love. So, at any rate, I kind of rushed through the 6 steps because I want the ability to just kind of talk about what's going on in my life, and to give you pieces of that puzzle that work for you. So that's what it is today. What I wanted to do, once again, is to invite you to join our podcast at www.lifewritingpodcast.com. Let us know what we can talk about for you. If you download it, please, and you like it, please leave us a review. That's how things grow. And aside from that, have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.